let's cut back to the very, very beginning because this movie is going to establish Christmas time very early on with a Christmas parade, a Christmas party. We're getting some narration from Geena Davis telling us she was just born 8 years ago on a beach.
Well, damn. Her parents work fast. Were they aliens? Because she looks to be 28 in this movie.
She hit that growth spurt very early. I was thinking about this. I mean, we're going to assume the audience has seen the movie so we can just dig deep into the weeds of the story. Okay. In story, we saw the flashback. Dude shoots her in the head. She flies off the cliff, swims up to shore on the beach. They find her on the beach. Don't know what happened to her. I was thinking about this. Doesn't the story works better a little bit if the fact that she got shot in the head, they find her on the beach, like they still have to fix the bullet hole in her head. It's like, I know she has amnesia, but wouldn't she be thinking like, wait a minute, somebody shot you in the head. So whatever was going on was something dangerous, or maybe I feel like if she just fell off the cliff without getting shot and wakes up on the beach, you can still have her have an amnesia, but then it's like, oh, okay, they just find her, nothing's wrong with her. She fell off the cliff. Getting shot in the head, I think raises questions where it's like everybody be like, well, who shot you in the head? Like, this is like, I do think that her just starting fresh works better without getting shot in the head. And just like, oh, we found her on the beach. What's wrong with her?
Yeah, well, unfortunately, she gets shot in the head, and we don't hear anything about
it. Nick dismisses my entire point with a nothing response. You know what?
I mean, what am I supposed to say about that? Oh, the doctors have been looking into it for 8 years and no one knew. There's a reason why she's been hiring PIs to find out who she is.
I bet you ChatGPT would have had a perspective. Replacing it with AI. Skynet's taking your place next week, buddy.
ChatGPT is going to agree with anything you say. All you got to do is plug it in correctly. That's why it is not good to use when you're having an argument with your significant other. Wait, what?
Well, okay, all right. Oh, I got personal pretty quick. All right, so yeah, but anyways, let's think about that. So okay, so she's had amnesia. She's built a new life over the course of 8 years. She's now with her school's PTA. She has she woke up with amnesia being 2 months pregnant. So she had a daughter. She met a new guy.
She's not with the school's PTA. She is literally a teacher.
Yeah, but she's on the PTA or something. She says something.
Can a teacher be part of the PTA? I know she's a parent, but she's also still a teacher.
But she says in the car in the middle, she's like, I'm on the damn PTA. No. But well, whatever that means, I don't know. Either way, she's living her best life, living a family life.
She seems bored.
She seems bored, but I mean, listen, making Christmas cookies and new Christmas parades. This is the life, baby, suburbia. So,
and also remember telling little Timmy not to smoke.
Now, in terms of the guy she's seeing, right? Which initially I thought that was the father of the kid, but we find out that he's just like, she met him. He's probably being a father to the kid, of course, but not an actual father. Okay. Probably nobody really thinks about this, but from his perspective, I know he likes her, but would you date a girl or marry a woman who literally, like, you know nothing about her background because she's had amnesia, so you don't know anything about her. She doesn't know anything about her. And you're like, well, they found her shot in the head. I'm not saying it's a red flag where you're like, but you have to really like her to be like, whoa, this is an interesting situation. I don't know anything about your background. You don't know anything about your background. Let's get together.
Huh? I'm pretty sure she probably ixnayed the whole gunshot wound to the head to him. And also, there's a good chance that, yes, people would date someone who doesn't remember her damn past, because then you don't have to deal with in-laws.
Oh, yeah. Wait. Hey, that's a very interesting too. Like, are we to believe she just had no family? Because like, there's never a thought of like, even I guess when she finds out who she is, if you found out who your real thing was, wouldn't you be like, yeah, let me look up like my parents or like my brother? We have to go in the impression that she has no family at all, or she doesn't care to look them up afterwards.
I mean, we do find out her dad was killed at one point. But we don't know anything about her mom. We don't know if she has any siblings. We literally learned nothing about her except she used to work for this secret organization as an assassin.
Yes. So she's living family life, but there's some little hints start to creep in that maybe things aren't what they seem. She's cutting
Speaking of
some
hints, I want to
vegetables.
talk about this knife scene real quick.
Oh yeah, go
When
ahead.
when using a knife, people, when you're
Yeah.
cooking and using a knife and you're chopping veggies, you do not have your finger on the spine. You have absolutely no control of the knife, and in fact, that's actually shown in this movie when she fucking cuts her damn finger.
Yeah.
You
Well,
hold the
so
knife with your fingers wrapped around the blade, so that way you have full control of both ends. You don't go all wiggly wobbly.
it's something like in the beginning of the chopping scene, she's Samantha the housewife doing the chopping, doesn't know what she's doing. But then midway through, she turns into Charlie the assassin doing the chopping, and now she becomes expert chef, Chef Ramsay, Chef Gordon Ramsay, Charlie Baltimore, cutting the damn fruit, throwing the knife against the wall, saying the classic line, chefs do that."
Which I could probably see Ramsey knowing how to do that. That man does absolutely everything in his life. But I don't think chefs do that.
I don't know.
I mean, I
Uh,
used to cook in the Coast Guard, and I've never seen a single person just chuck a knife into their fridge.
yeah, that was definitely the assassin part of her for sure. So, um, well, listen, if she never regains her memory from this point forward, she at least will be better in the kitchen in terms of chopping vegetables. They'll get a better dinner. So there's a utility here.
Well, man, so we kind of skipped over what the event that causes her to start remembering, and it's kind of a good thing this happened, considering the fact she was literally attacked in like 2 days after this. But
True.
driving home a drunk dude,
Yep.
he, being a drunk, dirty old man, he decided to try and cop a feel,
Yep.
and then they hit a deer, they crash, and I'm just wondering. So you put the deer out of his misery, okay? This must be Charlie, because Charlie just lets that old man burn alive.
They never confirm or deny what happened to the old man. You never actually, because they cut to her in the hospital, but I don't think they discuss like she doesn't wake up and be like, "Did he die?" She don't care. Nobody cares, I guess, but they don't address that. It depends on how quickly an ambulance or police came to the scene. I don't know. It did look bad for him. It looked probably like this wasn't going to work out well. But
I'm pretty sure he burned alive.
hopefully he died from the inhaling the smoke before he burned alive. It just depends on how quickly the smoke got into his lungs. So
Considering the fact of how drunk he was, I'm guarantee you the alcohol inside of him probably burst into flames while inside of him after he inhaled that smoke. So he burned alive from the inside.
yeah, that was an interesting choice for Charlie to just go over and be like, put the deer out of his misery. But then she was like, "I'm old man in the car. I'm going to sleep." She's like, maybe she remembered him like putting a move on her or something like that. It was like, I don't know. They set the old man up to be like not likable before that. So I don't know, but you're right. This she cracked her head and basically that started to fix her amnesia a little bit because now things are starting to come back to her, and it is good timing because an assassin's coming to her house, hiding,
One-eyed Jack.
doing the dastardly thing of hiding behind Christmas carolers. If listen, there's innocent people singing jingle bells with an assassin hiding behind them. That's a low blow. That's really dastardly, I'd say.
I mean, he's not a very good assassin since he missed with the grenade launcher of the fucking M16. I mean, come on now.
Well, you'll enjoy this because Nick Arcana looks for three things in a movie: a fight scene, a
Yep.
fight scene,
Yep.
a fight scene.
Yes.
And here we get now this is like a fun fight scene because it's sort of assassin versus Samantha with a little bit of Charlie coming out at different points of the fight scene, but she's switching from like scared to like, wait, I can beat this dude's ass. Right. And like in real time, she's like forced to like her subconscious, like Charlie's coming out and be like, Samantha, let me take over. I can beat this dude's ass. But she's still like, ah.
Well, I'm
So
trying
it's
to figure
interesting.
out this guy is supposed to be allegedly be an assassin, and yet, he had no fighting skills. I mean, he was pretty much he got tackled by Samantha, not even by Charlie.
Yeah, and what she does to him at the end, I think we made a point when we were watching this. I'm expecting her to like crouch over and snap his neck, right? But what does she do? Like just like just like kind of hits the back of his head or something. Like
Oh,
I
so
don't.
first I want to talk about how bougie this guy must be getting knocked out by pie. Okay, I mean,
Whoa, whoa, whoa! She slammed the hell of that pie though.
I don't care.
That
It's
looked
still
like
pie.
yeah, but his face hit. So basically, if the hand is behind the pie, right? So if you slam with enough force, it's your hand is smashing into the face.
A
So think
small
about
woman like Geena Davis would still not do that much damage to someone who should be hard headed enough to take a hit.
whoa, buddy. Your nose and your face is just your face. You cave in someone's nose, they die.
She
All
didn't
right.
cave it in. She just smacked him on the side of the head with a damn pie. Pie's
She
gonna soften that blow.
You're saying side of the head. She said right directly to the face. That was his eyes and
It
nose.
was side of the head.
Oh my god. No way. All right,
Yes, right. And then
I'm
the
gonna
guy,
rewind that. That hand caved his
and
nostrils into his
then when the
brain.
guy's down, yes, she cracked him in the spine, which probably, honestly, with that kind of a hit, probably did paralyze him. Then she broke his neck in a very awkward way.
That's what I understand. Like, did she actually? Because she clearly kills him, but I thought she just like knocked him unconscious with this head blow. But I think she clearly killed him, right? So it's like, I
Well,
don't
she
know.
killed him with the neck snap because then she grabbed him by the head and like jerked really hard, and you hear this neck snapping sound. And I'm sitting there like, wouldn't your hands like slide off of his bald head before it actually got the amount of force needed to snap his neck?
Even more interesting, the husband walks in at the exact moment she's doing this. Now, if you're the husband, you walk in. You're saying, okay, somebody broke into our house and attacked us. That's kind of weird. You walk in, you see the guy's on the ground unconscious, and your wife then basically murders him.
Yes.
At that point, we've crossed the threshold past self-defense. We're now into he's on the ground unconscious, and she makes like some military move to break his neck and says, chefs do that. Now, if you're the husband, again, I'm not saying it was a red flag that you don't know her past, but now you got to be like, whoa, my wife is some kind of like assassin or something because she just murdered this dude in like a very specific neck move she did. I'm just saying, dude's got to be like rethinking things a little bit. That's what I'm saying. So.
You say specific neck move, but all she did was like lift his head. What you probably thinking is hand on head, hand on top of the head, hand on chin, and then a quick snap. She literally just grabbed both sides of his head and just went up. I'm like, the way you did that, I feel like, again, he's a bald head. It's covered in cherry pie, probably baby oil. You know, her hands should have slid off his head before it actually snaps.
It's a weird choice to have her do that. I'm gonna go with the idea that's gonna actually make you mad. I think he was already dead from the pie hit, and I think that she's doing that just to mess with him. But I think he's already dead on the ground. The pie hit crushed his brain nostril.
I wonder what was in those cherries.
He's the first guy to die from pie in the face.
Well, no. Killer Clowns from Outer Space.
Oh, yeah. Those are some crazy pie, so.
Maybe that was the pie she used. She used the Killer Clown pie. He was secretly melting as she was putting him out of his misery.
You know what's funny about that, too, is if you watch Killer Clowns, the girl in Killer Clowns, to me, she looks exactly like Geena Davis. I'm trying to remember the visual of the girl from Killer Clowns. Or next time you watch it, tell me she doesn't seem like young Geena Davis.
She doesn't.
Well, let's talk about the character Mitch, Samuel Jackson's most favorite character.
Do we want to bring up that the cops just automatically aimed a gun right at him?
Yeah, I thought that was without saying too much, that was saying a lot. I feel like so without spelling it out, he's like, "What did I do?" Like,
I mean, I mean, the fact that he's a sleazy PI who apparently still has the honor enough to actually do his job and do it better than PIs that most likely cost even more money than he does.
Oh yeah, he gets the show on the road because him and his assistant they find that some clue where she was engaged to a guy in New Jersey, and they find an address and stuff. So it gets the movie going because now he's like, we can go on the road, go visit this person and see what's going on. So it kind of moves it forward. So even though what's funny is she calls him out in the car. She's like, how'd you get this far? You seem like low rent. So she's actually calling it out. I mean, his first scene is going to start a series of just great lines. I mean, and The one that stands out to me, the first scene is, you know, when you assume you make an ass out of you and Umption,
Right.
which is I
And
gotta
then
remember
he
these.
has then he has the whole trust me, they're gonna love you in jail. And if you don't go to jail, I'll get men that's gonna love you.
Yeah, just
You better
hilarious.
like being loved by men.
Yeah, hilarious stuff. Um, the strength of the movie ultimately, because this beginning with all this stuff with her and her family, I get it for plot purposes, but the movie really starts for me once her and Samuel Jackson are on the road because really this movie's about their chemistry, their interplay, their dialogue. It's a it's a buddy action film. Let's be honest, pretty much. So that's when the movie gets on the road. And I would also want to shout out the villain. His first scene where he has the dude tied up, right?
Yeah.
I didn't pick up the first time. On the second watch, like at the very beginning of the scene, the dude tied up actually says, he's like, I know you're gonna kill me. Just don't do it with a knife. I never heard that before. So now it's like at the end, it makes more sense. He's like, it's like the dude asked, like, he's like, I know you're gonna kill me. Just don't do it with the knife. So I thought it was
No, what's funny is this guy, when we first watched it, my TV for some reason, either my TV or it's just Blu-rays in general, just does not like dialogue. So when I watched it today, I rented it on Amazon. I have subtitles on, and I'm starting to notice a lot of these lines he says that's actually pretty hilarious.
Oh yeah. Yeah, every Samuel Jackson has the best lines, but every character gets good lines. Even like the husband when he's giving his speech at the Christmas party,
Oh yeah,
he's like, I don't smoke, I don't drink, I don't swear. He's like, oh shit, I do drink and smoke. Like every character gets a shine with the dialogue. Like,
except
Gina
David
Davis.
Morse.
Who?
David Morse, Luke.
Oh yeah. We'll talk about him. We'll get to him. I think that also I gotta shout out Brian Cox because I don't know if you picked up on some of his lines, but his lines are like very elaborate but hilarious.
He's a very sarcastic, serious person.
Yeah, what he says to his wife is hilarious. And then also
The car being chased, he said when he's talking to Samuel L. Jackson, he's like, well, what was he told him? He's like, oh yeah, if you're comfortable enough to have him around, you better be comfortable enough to shoot him. I like your decision. Here's the gun.
that and tomorrow we'll go to the zoo. Most underrated line though is when he catches up them and he has Samuel Jackson against the wall.
He's talking about the little pamphlet that Samuel L. Jackson had in his pocket.
But the line before that, the way he calls him an idiot, like Samuel Jackson's like, how'd you find me? He's like, of the many reasons not of the reasons not to kill you, one is not that you'll be missed by NASA. There's a funny way to say you're like an idiot.
I will say Brian Cox was actually one of the main characters in Autopsy of Jane Doe, which, if anyone remembers our trivia, Vic said he's probably never going to watch it.
I've heard of that name of the movie so much. Maybe just for that Brian Cox being in it, and also just for the fact that it may come up in trivia again later on. I should probably watch it, so I know what I'm talking about next time. He's only in 3 scenes in this movie, but he leaves like a lasting impression. Like you're almost like, damn, I wish he was in the rest of the movie too.
Yeah, I feel like they killed him off too quick. I'm fine with him being killed off. He was an older character, so he wasn't going to be able to do a lot of the stunts. But I still feel like they should have kept him in just a little longer.
Yeah, maybe they felt like it was too much to have the 3-person dynamic, but for the moments we had them 3 together, it was just like it was great. It felt, but also it's like he's so funny that it's like, yeah, you kind of like want to spin off with just like his adventures.
Another person I feel like they killed off too quick is Luke. Our Dedulus, this guy that allegedly is the mastermind behind the entire operation that's going on in this movie.
Yeah. Well, he had to go.
I just feel like there was still more they could have done with him before he dies.
Fair point.
I mean, I understand Timothy's our main villain. I guess technically Perkins is our main villain because he's the one who's setting everything up for this fake terrorist attack.
Yeah.
But then again, there's nothing fake about killing 4,000 people. So
holy cow, the plot reveals at the end are like, whoa, this is way bigger than I would think for like a small action movie. Like this is a pretty damn international like plot going on here.
Yeah, I thought we were watching just some random versus assassin movie. No, we're apparently watching John Wick before John Wick came out.
Pretty much. With David Morse's character, I just want to point out when they first come across him, his reaction is a dead giveaway that he's not on the up and up. Because if your former fiance had disappeared for 8 years and she just casually walks into your yard and you see her, his reaction's like kind of like, oh. His reaction was like the pizza man arrived. Like, oh, he's pleasantly surprised to see his pizza order came. He's like, oh,
I feel like
the pizza's
his
here.
reaction was more like satisfaction because remember, with her allegedly being dead, they never found the body. So if you're a good villain, you're going to assume she's still alive. She's probably still going to be a problem. Don't hear from her for a year. That's when you start letting your guard down. Then when he sees her, his brain's like, oh, I was right. She's back.
No. Remember, though, at this point in the movie, he would have already been alerted by the bad guys that she's alive. She's back. So this is like, he's not surprised. He already knows that she's going to be coming probably. My thing is like, the character's not a good actor because if I'm selling the idea of like, oh my God, my long lost fiance, I'd be like, oh my God, like what happened? Like, he's just like, oh, the pizza's here. Hey, yeah, let's hug. I'm like, she should have been like, and Samuel L. Jackson is immediately suspicious too. It's like, I'm like, if this is like, yeah, if this is somebody you're in love with who disappeared for 8 years and they just show up, you're gonna be in total shock. His thing is more just like he's playing it like he's like the bad guy. He's like, oh hey, Charlie, what a surprise! The pizza's here 5 minutes early. Wow, the Uber Eats said.
He just didn't pull out a gun and start shooting.
Well, I guess the whole plot was basically when she comes, because remember, the helicopter is going to come pretty quickly. So I guess the idea was like, keep her there until we come in the helicopter and pick you guys up. Brian Cox's character shows up here, and I almost think at the point where they had, he explained everything to them, and then they don't believe him, and they hit him in the head with a tire iron, and they leave. If I'm his character at that point, I may actually be like, okay, I told them what they need to know. They don't want my help. I'm going back home to my wife. He really puts himself out here by showing up again and harm his way when he really didn't need to be any more involved at this point.
You just wanted him to come back for the sequel.
Oh, absolutely. If you're thinking of a franchise, that's a character you definitely want. Now, one thing too. All right, they capture all three of them. They take them. So first thing they do is they're going to torture Brian Cox's character. The one
did they? Because he didn't have a mark on him. He was just in the water. I think they just straight up drowned him.
Okay, interesting. You know what? I bring that up though is because even when she finds his dead body, he has the gun hidden in him.
Right.
So whatever they did to him wasn't a situation where he could actually, if they had tortured him the same way, he could have done the same thing she did. He could have went into the water, came back, and pulled the gun out. So you're right. They did something to him where, because like, yeah, he had the gun on him. He could have pulled the gun out, but I guess maybe they just shot him in the head or something. But then we don't see any obvious bullet wound either. So maybe they just drown him. But even if he's being drowned, I feel like there's still probably a way to pull the gun out. But that's with it. It's almost like you're like, well, that's a good excuse for her to be able to find the gun. But it's almost like, well, why didn't he use it against a bad guy? So I don't know. He trained her, so he's just as capable. So.
Well, like I said, the problem is he didn't have what she did, information.
They didn't need it. They didn't need him the way they needed her.
Exactly.
Let's run back to the awesome grenade. F it, run for your life. Which is another great line.
Oh yeah, the shootout in the hotel.
Yeah, the initial thing. Okay, the guy's walking up to them. They think maybe this is the guy they're looking for. He's hiding the gun in the newspaper.
Right.
On the rewatch, what got me was like, okay, your estimation, how hard would it be what she does? She, on the spot, with no vision, reaches into Samuel Jackson's pocket while falling to the side, takes control of the gun, and perfectly aims it to shoot the guy. That seems
So,
extremely difficult to actually do that on the spot. Like everything has to
well,
go right.
luckily, Samuel L. Jackson has a thing to keep his memories intact, and that's seeing what he's doing.
Yeah.
So that gives away that she knew, okay, I'm on his right side. There's his gun. However, as for the whole dropping and shooting and getting him perfectly,
aiming it perfectly as you're going to the side and shooting the guy, that's like
she's
you
an
got to be like,
assassin, man. She knows how to do that.
I mean, that's a marksman right there. That was the
You're
first.
also the type of person who thinks people can't be good with bow and arrows.
Well, no. I just question at a certain distance when they show them way back there and there's a moving target. I just think sometimes movies stretch the bounds of bow and arrow logic.
What do
So,
you think hunters used to do back in the day with
I
bows and
think
arrows?
I think they missed a couple times and then I don't think it was like on the first shot, it's a perfect hit. I think that they have 3 or 4 arrows and they
Yeah,
aim.
for a newbie.
All right, listen. The bottom line is I'm just saying this is a difficult shot. And by the way, that's got nothing to do with reaching through a jacket, leaning forward, flying to the left side, and shooting a victim perfect. I'm just saying it's a marksman for sure.
I mean, she was an assassin. Most likely, she was trained as a damn marksman.
I mean,
I wasn't surprised by that at all. I mean, especially with how many movies do that.
well,
You got people literally still firing guns from hips and getting their target perfectly in the head. I mean, that should be damn near impossible.
What I love about 90s old school action movies is they're not making these movies with the idea of like someday there's going to be a nitpick Nick who's like, oh, this doesn't make sense. They're just going balls to the wall. Screw logic. Screw your logic, pal. Let's just
Well, you're the one nitpicking this one.
I'm saying it's fine. I always ask you, like, did it seem like that's like an extremely difficult thing to pull off? I'm just saying I'm complimenting her. It's an extremely difficult thing to pull off. I understand. You're just like, she's an assassin. I get it. I'm not saying that. You know what? Forget this whole thing. You know, you're the biggest nitpicker. I'm just gonna be like, I'm gonna like every time you do this, I'm like, nope, you're wrong. It's fine. Anyway,
I mean, with this kind of movie, that's I can nitpick all damn day, and it's not going to change the fact that it's just a fun action movie. That's the only problem with action movies.
With fun action movies, you have to like give them some rope in terms of
right. It's not like a horror movie that still has laws and rules to the story and villain and all that still needs to be abided by just for it to actually make some sense. Once you start throwing all that sense away, that's where I start getting nitpicky.
You started getting nitpicky far before that, sir. Your nitpick is not grounded in logic either, right? We have to give you some rope on your nitpicking. So
name one nitpick.
Oh my God! Every single episode. We don't want to. That would squirt us into like a. That's gonna be a whole bloopers episode on its own. All right, so post hotel thing. Well, actually, I say post capture when she comes out the water, kind of right there, transforms back into Charlie in the water, comes out. David Morris, we hardly knew you. You're going to get killed right here, rightfully so. And now she's back to full blown. Well, she has to actually change her hair to blonde first. But after this makeover scene, she's back to full Charlie Baltimore. And Samuel L. Jackson Mitch can't believe what he's seeing. But this is going to be,
and he's not exactly thrilled with this one because he liked Sam, and I'm thinking, dude, she was married. You ain't getting with her.
I don't think he liked her like that. I think he liked her being a nice person, and this new version seems like a dick. So I think that's it. So
I mean, she was sitting there complaining about what Sam did to her body, and Samuel L. Jackson's like, well, I like that body. And you're telling me you don't want to be with her? This movie, not many characters get like very serious, supposed to be heart-wrenching type scenes, but Samuel L. Jackson, I think, has all of them. I mean, like when he nearly gets his head shot off and and he tells her, I'm leaving. She brings him to prison, and he's like, I've been to prison.
That and just the I mean, it's kind of deep. He says straight up, he's like, I've never done one thing right in my life. That takes a lot of awareness for someone to say that out loud. But also it's like, it means the character is like not somebody who has a lot of confidence or like a lot of like, he's got a lot of insecurity there. So plays off more at the end, but him saying that I think is just good character development. So you immediately like somebody who's like saying that because it's like, oh well, he feel it's a flawed character or they see themselves as flawed. But I agree, yeah, he gets most of the. I think probably Samuel Jackson likes Mitch because Mitch has a heart, but also gets all the fun, cool lines too. So, um, I think the hero was well, or I think the villain was well cast. The villain has these damn demon eyes. To me, his eyes look like I would not trust this guy if I met him because he looks like has sinister intentions.
Oh man, he looks like he'd be fun at parties.
Now we had a thing of like the whole movie being like, this guy has to know that this girl is his daughter. This is like a thing that came up.
That's stupid.
I think if all he knows is that she's been gone for 8 years and she has like a husband now, I can see where he just thinks the daughter is the daughter of the husband. That makes sense. So I can kind of see that. He didn't know that she was pregnant at the time, I don't think. So
it kind of makes no sense to me because seeing as how the daughter is 8 years old, you're telling me in order for that daughter to still be 8 years old at this time period and not be his, she would have had to have met this man and fucked him pretty much immediately after losing her damn memory.
But we're assuming that he knows the daughter's age. Does he? He knows she has a daughter, but I don't know if he's like, oh, born in 1880.
If he knows where they live, guarantee you he knows when that little girl was born.
Well, the way it's written, the best I can tell, he only finds out when he looks her in the eyes. He finds out, and you know what? Doesn't give a shit. He's still like, oh, plans don't change. You're both gonna die in this little ice thing. Right. So I see the actor did a good job of. I do see a moment of, oh shit, it is my daughter. He does seem to actually care for a second, and then like a robot, it switches back to, well, job's still got to be done. But did you see the moment of like?
Yeah, I saw it.
He was like, "Oh,
the movie."
I'm about to kill my daughter.
What they were going to do at first was him being like, "You know what? I'm going to take her and train her like me. I'll be a better father than you were a mother." Something like that.
I think the problem is up to that point in the movie, they made him so sinister and so heartless. It wouldn't be believable that he's like, oh, maybe he's good too. It would have been a complete 180.
Not if he was planning on kidnapping her and training her like he was to make her sinister and evil just like him.
Yeah, but
and then like he could be even more of a dick. It's like, no, I'm gonna also let you sit here and watch your mother die. Like have a camera in that damn freezer.
I think that nuance might have. So one thing about newer movies, I would say, is like there's sometimes more nuance. In the 90s, I will say most action villains were pretty much just evil for the sake of being evil.
Yeah.
Like when like Ed Harris in The Rock is one example of like, oh, a villain that actually has a lot of nuance and like sort of sympathetic. But that was very rare back then. It was usually just like demonize, evil, everybody dies, terrorize the world. It was those type of villains back then. He's more like that. So
yeah, but let's face it, he really wasn't even the main villain. His sidekick was Antony Todd.
Well, yes and no.
I mean, they don't have the brains to pull it off, but Ed Harris at the end is like, we got to abandon mission. The plan was not to kill everybody.
They become the main villain, but he's the main person. It's just that he's like, yeah, he basically comes to his senses and is like, there's a sympathetic motivation for him. Like he's never actually going to kill people in that movie unless he absolutely has to. What I'm saying is that's different from all these other villains who are just like, well, I can't fake 400 people being terrorized.
I can't fake killing 4,000 people, so actually doing it, we'll just have to do. Was that line?
That's classic 90. The most nuance we get is that dude being like, well, the child gets a teddy bear. It's like, oh, who gives a shit? You're about to kill 4,000 people.
Right. But at the very least, we get the one scene that Vic here was so adamant we weren't going to get because Geena Davis is a woman and the actor playing Timothy is a man.
Let me clean this up before you before you try to get me canceled. Let me clean this up and come back down. Now, thankfully, I have the final edit, so I can edit all this shit out. But That wasn't the exact reasoning, okay? All throughout the movie, of course, watching the movie, Nick's brain can't help but gravitate towards, when is the fight scene coming? When's gonna be the fight scene? I keep telling him, listen, in a movie with villains with guns and nuclear weapons like that, it doesn't always come down to a damn fisticuffs. It doesn't come down to just you and me fighting back and forth. I know Nick's so used to it that he's jonesing for it throughout the entire movie. I'm like, listen,
Was that
in
a
this,
pun?
oh yeah, well, that's a super inside pun for the audience, though. That's definitely not going to register on what we're talking about. Yeah, he's jonesing for this fight scene, and I'm just like, listen, I don't know, because I mean, he's also a trained assassin too, right? I guess, or something.
He's supposed to be.
I don't. It's weird, 'cause I thought so, but then it's also like, well, she just says he's basically just one of the villains. So I don't know if he's actually a trained assassin. He wasn't ever one of the good guys. He was always on the bad side, apparently. So I don't know. But I'm like, if he's trained as equally as her, then we get the my complaint about Scream 5, where what's her face throwing Dewey around, just overpowering Dewey. I'm like, I don't know. I mean, if they're treacle aim fighters, his physical strength advantage may come into play here. But I forgot that the movie actually does have a damn fight scene at that. They actually do. And so Nick's like, yeah! Nick's like, yeah, fight scene. I'm like, oh, why? I just gave this whole lecture about you don't need a fight scene in an action movie. And then, of course, they break down to fisticuffs just to annoy me. So.
Well, to be fair, the obvious choice was give Samuel L. Jackson the fight scene, but at the same time, he's not a trained assassin. And he's not even a fighter. He's barely a good shot.
That would have been less believable. I feel like Mitch would have just got his ass kicked. So
so it makes more sense for these two, and we get that, and I'd say it is still a pretty believable fight, even with because it's not even really a full-blown fight. There's a few throws here and there, but it's over very quick. I think it's like a 30-second scene.
It wasn't. It's never really a physical struggle. My concern is more of, is it believable if it becomes down to a full physical struggle? It never actually turns into a physical struggle. So it's done.
I mean, they had to physically stay on the net.
Yeah. Well, that's fair. I mean,
he did physically throw her onto the car.
I don't mean that. I mean them actually like a physical strength where it's like, oh, they're fighting and they're wrestling, and she just picked him up and threw him across the room. It didn't come down to that. That kind of thing.
To be fair, that wouldn't have happened. She would have used her speed to get a lot more hits on, grab the knife, and just stab him in the head. But that's besides the point.
She could have a speed advantage. I don't deny that.
Speed advantage, but the problem is, as you brought up, he grabs her, fight's done, because all he has to do is keep a hold of her at that point.
Yeah.
Well, then again, she has one more advantage on him that she doesn't. Granted, I hear it hurts just as much for women, and that is the dick hit. For women, it's pelvis, because instead of a soft meat sack, you got a whole bone there.
Yeah, she could have just resorted to that. That's true.
But anyway, so I'm still happy I got what I wanted out of the movie. But Vic also gets what he wanted.
Yes. I knew when they said there was a bomb. I knew that bomb was going off. It was only a matter of when. When is that bomb going off? I'm trying
to figure out how protected is this damn tanker. Because I feel like it being slammed into and rolling on its side is going to cause that to explode immediately.
This is like another thing of the 90s. Like I'm thinking of The Rock also. Like there's always like some green liquid bomb that's like about to go off. Every movie has to have this too. Well, listen, we have to talk about one thing though. It's that fact that
Super Shredder.
No. Let's cut back 10 minutes. Samuel Jackson dies in this movie. So Mitch, who's like, hey, I'm going to go kill some people. And she's like, no, don't do it. You're going to be surrounded. And he's like, just cover me, woman. I got it. So he goes, of course, and she's taking out a couple people. But then she's like, they got you flagged. And Samuel Jackson, who is literally like turning around in slow motion with his gun. Like, what do you think he was going to accomplish in slow motion on one foot? So he gets shot, and clearly to me looks like an actual death scene. Looks like he just dies.
But he's still alive in the car.
Now, okay, this is tricky because I did find something new I hadn't told you about. So in the test screening, when he falls over dead, apparently someone in the audience actually screamed at the screen, "You can't kill Samuel L. Jackson." Now, this feels like an in joke now because when he comes back, he says, "You can't kill me, motherfucker!" Like that. I'm like, oh, okay, that connects some dots. If that's like a fun little,
It's
that's his
fun
line
little
when he
like
comes
Easter
back.
egg for that one viewer.
Yeah, so Samuel Jackson, like, I don't. He's like, yeah, they had me die in a car, is what he said. But then IMDb says they reshot the entire ending to have him like be in it. So to me, I do think when he got shot in the snow, I think he falls over dead. I think everything after is like them now bringing him back, like him in the car and stuff. Feels like to me them reshooting it to include him in the ending.
Well, if
Thank
that's the
goodness.
case, then I got a question. How do you think the original ending went? Because without Samuel L. Jackson at this point, the little girl, and Gina Davis also would have died.
So it had to be completely different. It had to be something where she literally does it on her own. I don't know how. They had to restructure some things there to make it work, but I'm thinking it's her and the girl in a car driving off as the bomb goes off, and the girl's telling her, "Watch out for the cars." I think they just
or
rewrote it to where Samuel Jackson's in the car with them. So
or it's even more action packed by Gina Davis. You know how she swings up on the Christmas lights that I feel like are not strong enough to do this, but does it anyway.
yep.
So she shoots the guy down, right? But instead, what happens is, as she's coming up, she's holding the daughter. She shoots the bad guy very stupidly while holding the daughter, of course. And then somehow swings into the helicopter, and then the helicopter guy flies away before the bomb goes off. And then they kill the helicopter dude, so that way, nobody can find them.
I would like that. Maybe it's in the deleted scenes. I gotta watch the
And it feels like for this realm of movie that could be a possibility. Just something stupid action way to get these characters out of the situation.
By the way, the villain in the helicopter, he should have seen her doing that whole thing where she's gonna come up like that. He should have saw her doing that and like been like, "Oh, I see what you're trying to do." He's just like he's caught off guard by this whole thing. I'm like, if I'm at the helicopter watching her, I'm like, I see what she's gonna do. He's just like lets it happen, like, blah. It's like I'm like, what?
Well, he had his villainese style of now he got stupid.
Yeah, but I mean, like what I wanted was what I got at the end was the bomb going off, car driving with the entire fire behind, the little girl telling, "Watch out for the car." He's like, "If you don't shut your mouth and put your seatbelt on," like just being so annoyed. The ending I think works perfect because Mitch's character getting on TV, interview with Larry King, I think that validates his character because now it's like, oh, well, maybe he's getting like some kind of fame out of this too, and it makes him look good to his son and baby's mom.
His ex-wife, and then he makes the very corny joke that absolutely nobody but him laughs to. Shows how much of a dad he is in this movie.
But that's such a Mitch joke. So
that is such a dad joke, okay?
But I do have questions about Geena Davis' character at the end. Not to say we have to get like a feel for where her head's at, but like I said, at the end, she's back in the family life, and it's kind of like she still had, it's like, well, are you a mix now? Like, can you just do this family thing? And I think he asked her, he's like, I could stay out here forever, and she just throws a knife, and like she's like, yeah, I guess, but that's like the ending to me leaves like room for like, oh,
the sequel.
She's gonna want to be, and also the entire time with the husband, I'm just like, now it's with the husband. Now it's not even that you don't know about her past. Now it's like the woman you fell in love with wasn't actually the woman you fell in love with. This is like a different personality now too. I'm just like, he's just going along with he's going with the flow. He's like, whatever you are, I love you. But I'm like, who are you? Like, I don't know, but
I am leaving the obvious joke alone.
I mean, it's not too obvious. I don't know. I have no idea what it is, but
I'll tell you after this because I think I've said fucking and sex way too much already.
Yeah, you're supposed to get that out before it starts. This man just, I mean, dang. Jeez. Anyways, it's all good. Well, Long Kiss Goodnight, if you haven't seen it, which many haven't, go back and watch it. You could wait till Christmas time because it's a Christmas movie, but you don't have to. Just watch it as soon as you can. Especially if you like Lethal Weapon, if you like Last Boy Scout, if you like good dialogue, buddy cop movies, sit down and watch it. If you're a Samuel L. Jackson fan, definitely watch it. Just watch it. I mean, I got no much to say.
Well, I mean, for me, it's kind of the same thing. It's just a fun action buddy. I was about to say cop because whenever you say buddy, you automatically want to go to buddy cop.
That was a struggle. I kept thinking buddy cop, and I'm like buddy action. What it's called the buddy cop genre, but
either way, it's still just a downright fun movie with a lot of funny jokes. Samuel L. Jackson is probably, this is his favorite performance. I see why. He had a lot of fun doing it. You could tell. Geena Davis is good in it. So far, every movie besides The Fly I've seen her in has been good, and that's been 2 others.
I haven't seen Beetlejuice. I really got to sit down and watch it.
You've not seen the original Beetlejuice.
And I think now what's funny is like now I can watch it with the sequel back to back and just watch them both. So, but
well, I have it on DVD. I'm going to make you watch it next time.
But have you seen the second one?
No.
Okay, that's gonna be a doubleheader then. Okay.
That one does not have Geena Davis in it though.
Oh, well, either way.
Either way, but like I said, overall fun movie, fun time to be had. Especially you can watch it with friends, family, and there's nothing awkward going to pop up. David Moore should have gotten a bigger role. That's about all I'll say to that.
Well, and Brian Cox stands out big time, and also, yeah, I need to visit Cutthroat Island because it came out the same year. It's the same director, Geena Davis. Maybe it has the same sense of humor. I don't know, but I'm curious to watch that also.
Yep. Well, anyway, folks, you don't have to go home. You do got to remember, Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie, and A Mercy for None has so far been a very decent show of the one episode I have seen.
Lethal Weapon, not a Christmas movie. Die Hard, Christmas movie. Die Hard, better. Die Hard, Die Hard, Die Hard. That's all.
Lethal Weapon.
Die Hard.
Lethal Weapon.
Folks, post in the comments. Lethal Weapon or Die Hard. Die Hard.
It's you'll probably get a better reception if you post as like a community question post.
We gotta wait till Christmas time though. That's definitely a Christmas question. So.
That's fair.
Since Die Hard is a Christmas movie.
And Lethal Weapon.
Not because Lethal Weapon is a Christmas movie.
Not because of Die Hard. Lethal Weapon.